President Emmanuel Macron has confirmed the withdrawal of French troops from Mali after 9 years. Macron is denying that the French mission in Mali ended in failure. He accused Mali's transitional government of forcing French troops to pull out. France and European allies will continue what they call a joint action against terrorism in the Sahel region.
For more perspective on the withdrawal of French troops from Mali, we're joined from our Lagos studio by Dr. Joshua Bolarinwa. He's a senior research fellow of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Thank you for joining us on Newsnight. What would you, or how would you describe this planned pullout, by France from Mali? Is it a case of enlightened self-interest, or would you say after 9 years they've actually overstayed their welcome?
Well, anyway, we will say it is also a case of enlightened interest, or basically a case whereby France has no other thing to do with Mali, because the current military junta in Mali does not allow France to thrive. France has been, even with some other European powers or forces, France has been in Mali since 2013 permanently, trying to help prevent, curb insurgencies, terrorism, create stabilities, prevent insecurity in Mali. But since the new military junta came in 2020, the situation has become very worse. Worse in the sense that France has been reduced to non-acceptability by the current military junta. They don't see Mali, they don't see France helping them or doing any serious thing. So as a result of that, the military junta severed diplomatic relationship with France. And this is coming from the decision of ECOWAS that gave Mali 6 months. The 6 months expired this February, that by February, the current military junta in Mali should conduct elections and bring in democratically elected president. So, but the current military junta in Mali did not do that. They jettisoned the directive and the instruction of ECOWAS. So as a result of that, they said they will not leave the government until 2025. So as a result of that, France became unsettled, not happy. And France said, do this, if you don't do this, if you don't do this, we'll pull out our military force or the troops. So France, mobilizing the other European members who also had sent troops to Mali, that they will withdraw. So they have agreed that in the period of 6 months, French troops and other European military troops that are in Mali will pull out, and they've started to withdraw gradually. They were in Gao, they were in Timbuktu, and they have been there to restore stability in Mali. But the current military junta in Mali did not accept the supremacy of France, to the extent that the current military junta expelled the French ambassador. They expelled the French ambassador from Mali. And that was when the diplomatic row or diplomatic relation became severed.
All right, Dr. Joshua, let me just comment there. Are you then saying that France is pulling out on the basis of breakdown of diplomatic ties and hostility from Mali's government, that you totally agree with it, because in some quarters they're saying that over the 9 years, France being there is a failure?
Sincerely, you are right. Even before the permanent stay between 2013 and now, which is about almost 10 years, 9 years now, almost 10 years since 2013, the French had been along that axis. All of that axis, the caravan route, all the way from Mali, to Niger, to Chad, even up to Niger, around Nigeria. That route, France had been there for a very long time. but permanently since 2013, that make it 9 years now. The French had been there claiming to restore stability, to prevent terrorism, to forestall insurgencies and all of that. But all of that did not happen, because if you look at between that 2013 and even 2020, when the last coup that brought in this current military junta, France really had not really done anything. But what France had pursued all of these 9 years in the stretch had been selfish interest, personal interest, and also economic interest and all of that. So I will also agree that the French stay in Mali, in Timbuktu, in Gao, all over Mali, in the African Sahel, all of that region, had really not resulted into any major success. And that is why people are really not saying whether you want to withdraw, you want to take away your troops and all of that. It doesn't affect anything. Unfortunately for France, Russia covertly had come in to be helping the current military junta in Mali. They've done it successfully in Central African Republic. They've done it in Mauritania, Mauritius, and all of that axis. So now they are accusing Russia of doing some clandestine movements, selling weapons to the rebels, selling weapons to the insurgencies, aiding coups, and all of that. But the truth is that France, in the past 9 years, or in almost 10 years, that they have been in Mali, they have been in the Sahel, they have been in that axis, up to Niger, even Chad, that is in crisis now, that led to the death of Idriss Deby and his son took over. France has really not performed very well. They have really not done anything wonderful to ensure security of the Sahel, to ensure security in Mali, to ensure security in Niger, or even Chad, not to talk of even Nigeria. So I think it's for selfish reasons or selfish interest.
Well, the Ghanaian President Akufo-Addo has, questioned the timing of this pullout, and the UN has also raised concerns about how it will affect peacekeeping in the region. What are your concerns? How will this really impact the Sahel that's in the throes of, fighting the terrorism war, and especially Nigeria?
Yes, it will affect the Sahel. Currently in the past 1 year or thereabout, there have been rising cases of insurgencies, rising cases of terrorism, rising cases of fighting, rising cases of military coups from Mali to Burkina Faso to Guinea-Bissau, and even some other parts of West Africa and extending to that place. Even presently, Burkina Faso had become the haven or a serious haven for all of these insurgents, terrorists, militants, and all of that. So the major effect coming from it, the impact on Nigeria, on the Sahel, on West Africa, on Mali, and some other major countries which are really affected by these rising insurgencies, militant activities, and even terrorist activities. The pullout itself is very symbolic. Symbolic in the sense that France is a permanent member of the United Nations. France colonized Mali. France colonized Chad. France colonized even Niger. And even Burkina Faso. They are all Francophone countries. And they've all had very serious ties with France. And France is a major influence on world politics or global politics. So it will affect peacekeeping activities. It will affect even preventive activities, preventive diplomacy that either the ECOWAS or even the African Union or even the United Nations will want to embark upon, because France will do everything within her powers to pull down anything that will bring stability to Mali, particularly, because Mali has forced her to leave her territory, which has been for time immemorial and for a stretch of 9 years. And they believe they have invested so much in Mali to be now sent out unceremoniously or to be disgraced out of Mali the way they have been pushed out of that region. And so Sahel is in crisis. Sahel is,
all right.
Yes, more danger. Yes, there's probably more danger because Sahel is having more crisis now.
Let me come in there. Do you see these in anywhere at all provoking, I mean, the nations you mentioned, provoking a domino effect among other African nations, or even those within that area wanting the same thing to happen, foreign forces pulling out and all that?
Well, it could happen, but we can only see our foreign forces. For example, the French president, Emmanuel Macron, said that the French forces and some other European forces pulling out with them from Mali, that the Nigerian Republic has accepted to take them. And you know, it's less than about 2 years that Niger just returned to democratic rule. So Niger itself is a looming danger. Niger itself is a danger signal. And now that the French troops are moving back to Niger. And you know, Chad is already in crisis. Chad is in crisis. Chad is unstable. Chad is even like a waiting bomb to explode. So there's a lot of crises that some other countries may say, okay, France, pull out or just take away your troops. But you know, already presently, the president said day before yesterday and yesterday that the French troops will move into Niger. The Nigerian Republic had already accepted them. And in a period of 6 months now, the French troops will move to Niger. And I know as they move to Niger, they may stylishly still move into Burkina Faso. Yeah. You know, Burkina Faso is in serious crisis now. It's in serious crisis now. The military junta just took over in Burkina Faso. The people are accepting the military junta. And you can see even how they say the law court say they should. It's an interesting scenario, but the Sahel is a serious looming danger. It's a looming danger that not only ECOWAS or ECAS, but AU and the UN must look into seriously.
Yeah, Dr. Joshua Bolarinwa, they are a senior research fellow at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Thank you so much for being on the program.